Hey everyone, welcome to the Level Up podcast where we talk all things health and wellness. So today we have Richard Hirsch with UnaliWear. Hope I said that right. I just practiced it a couple times. So thanks for joining us today. How you doing?
I'm really well, Kevin. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to your podcast downloaders, listeners. I'm not sure how to properly define that, but anybody who is listening to this, I'm happy to talk to them and talk to you as well.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I kind of just open it up pretty vague. This is basically a get to know you and your brand. So, who are you? What's UnaliWear?
Mhm.
What is
So,
that? And give me the 101.
okay, sure. So UnaliWear is in the what's called the medical alert space, which for anyone younger than 65 is probably they probably know it as the I fall and I can't get up space, kind of and everyone younger than 65 laughs about that, and everyone older than 65 is horrified by that, right? So
Yeah,
and we've been in that space now. We've actually just celebrated our 10th year, and
nice.
yeah, thank you. The UnaliWear makes one product. We make what's called the Kanega watch. It's a medical alert watch, and I'll explain that in a second. But basically, it's a watch that people can wear as opposed to wearing something around their neck, which is quite stigmatizing and and clunky that people tend to
Hmm.
get and don't wear. That can get them the help they need in any sort of major or minor emergency. They actually speak through the watch to a monitoring center, a 24/7 monitoring center, not 911, someone who knows who they are, knows where they are, and whether they're responsive or not, they can get them the help they need. And so there's a lot of really great technology in here, which I can talk about, but I want to stop. So we're in the business of basically keeping people safe, allowing them to extend their independence with dignity, as opposed to having to wear something that's really clunky and stigmatizing around their neck and targeting, quite frankly, around their neck. And we're doing it in a way that actually allows them to be protected without being embarrassed.
Got it. Okay. And can I see the watch again real quick?
Sure. And when I turn it
Wow,
to my
looks
when I turn
nice.
it to my face, it lights up. You can actually see the time. So I mean, it's a battery powered watch. I'll explain that in a second as well. So there's a whole bunch of interesting features, but about this that I can talk about. But the thing that I think is overridingly important is that this was designed with the help of independent older adults. And that sounds mind blowing, like, hey, you make a product for older adults, maybe they should try it before you actually put it on the market. This is
Hmm.
mind blowing for the medical alert industry. They don't, they just basically import products from Asia, they slap their logo on it, and they sell it. And this
Hmm.
product was developed and engineered in Austin, Texas, and it went through a lot of focus groups, a lot of in-home testing. Uh, there's an origin story about the founder's mom who was turning 80, who wouldn't wear a medical alert pendant, and she became the company's senior, in quotation marks, experience officer. So this
Love it.
watch has a lot of technology under the hood, but it's an incredibly simple interface. And for a lot of our wearers, that is a game changer.
Yeah, I love that. So basically, to me, being a millennial sounds like a life alert, but without, I could even see, I think my grandpa, before he passed away, we tried to get him to wear something like that 'cause he had bad hips and walker and all that stuff. And his pride was too much there to just wear a necklace all day that everybody could see and stuff. He's like, no, I'm fine. I can walk, whatever. But with the watch, I mean, it looks basically like an Apple Watch or something, or like a Samsung watch. So it blends in. No one would ever know, and you still have that protection there. So that's pretty amazing, I think.
We had a call because we sell directly through our website unaliwear.com, and people also call us, place orders. And there's some legendary stories, in our company about people who call in and what they say. And I remember there's one where a guy called in, and when he was ordering the Kanega watch, so the company's called UnaliWear, and I'll explain that in a second. The watch is called the Kanega watch, but we said, why are you getting a watch? And he goes, and why would you choose a pendant? And he goes, because I don't want to wear a garage door opener around my neck. And I know your listeners
Yeah,
either have parents or grandparents that would say the exact same thing, and
for sure.
that's who we're for. And like, sadly, in the country that we live in now, stigmatization is both sad as well as dangerous, right? If you're walking around
Hmm.
outside and you have an exposed medical alert pendant around your neck, you could be, I'm not trying to sell in fear, but you can be targeted, right? You don't want to look that way. You don't want to be in Walmart
Yep.
and have that be the person, you look like the most vulnerable person either on the street or in a store. And the watch
Hmm.
blends into the background. No one needs to know you're wearing a medical alert device. And like I said, I can get into a bunch of other features that are interesting about this that are really unique and compelling, including we're
Hmm.
the only watch you can wear 24/7, the only medical alert watch you can wear 24/7. You never have to take it off to charge off your wrist, and it has fall
Oh, wow.
detection. And the fall detection is really why people get this. I mean, to Life Alert's credit, the tagline "I've fallen and can't get up" completely
Hmm.
resonates with the main reason why people get these products. But for a long time, you couldn't get a fall detection device on the wrist. You had to wear something around your neck. And since the vast
Hmm.
majority of people got it and didn't wear it, it had no value whatsoever. It's like a car that sits in the garage, you never drive. So having a watch that discreetly gives you that fall detection protection, and you can wear it on your wrist, and it gives you the time, it gives you the day, it even has medication reminder functionality. It gives you a reason to keep wearing it, and that's one of the benefits is the behavior modification of turning an idea into a habit for someone. Very
Hmm.
hard when you just wear something like a big piece of plastic around your neck that gives you no benefits all day long. Day in, day out, nothing happens except for maybe giving you a false alert here or there. But if you have something on your wrist and you're used to wearing a watch and you tell us time, tell us date, like it gives you reason to keep wearing it. And that's one of the benefits of this as well.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm definitely going to circle back in a second to the never having to take it off and it's battery operated. Sounds like you created an infinite solar watch battery or something. Um, First, though, I want to get into the naming because the name of it is the name of the company is definitely unique. The name of the watch, I know it starts with a K and you said it 3 times, but I still don't know what
I
it
know,
is.
I know. It's a blessing and a curse, right? So the story is that the founder, her name is Jean Ann Booth. She's a trained, incredible electrical engineer uh, that sold her last two companies to some small companies named Texas Instruments and Apple, right? Probably, I don't know if you've ever
Oh,
heard of
okay.
those two companies. I'm not sure they're not very well known.
Nah,
Yeah,
nah.
exactly.
I'll research them later. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
I'd invest in that Apple company. I think it's going to really do well, you know. Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, so she retired and she was a dive master, and so she was good. She was trained to be a dive master in scuba diving, and then her mom. The story goes, her mom wouldn't wear a medical alert watch, a medical alert pendant. And this is going on about 10 years ago. And so Jean Ann was like, well, I have investors, I have developers, I know how to source product, source materials. So it took about 4.5 years and really, really supportive investors, both angel investors as well as private equity firms, VCs, that kind of stuff. Um, and the company actually launched a watch with fall detection before the Apple Watch had fall detection. They were really the first ones. And it was really an engineering problem, which was solved. And the reason I kind of want to bit off the process here, but because answering your question, so Jean Ann and her mom have Native American heritage. They're part Cherokee, Native American, and in Cherokee, Unali means friend, and Kanega means speak. So we're the friend that speaks to you. And that again is
Okay.
it's a revolutionary change in this industry. Anybody, and I'm not sure how much your listeners have done any research in this industry, but it is really based on fear. I mean, even I've fallen and can't get up. No disrespect to any company in this industry, but that is an example of the fear-based selling that exists. And if you go online, you're looking at these devices. There's alert this and guard that, and like all the things that are
Hmm.
designed to make you feel like you have to have it because you're afraid. And really, that isn't how you have to sell to older adults. You can treat them like adults and just say, hey, we're here to help you when you need the help. We're the friend that speaks to you, because the watch is also voice activated and does actually speak to you in an emergency, and then connects you to the monitoring center. So there's a whole personalization that exists here as well. And so we, when Jean Ann started the company, the idea was to sell on dignity and sell on independence and freedom, and being able to live your life as you want to, like not the idea of, be afraid and get this because otherwise you're going to die, which is what most companies do in this industry. And we think it's really awful.
Wow. So, man, I love it. So first off, you take the stigma out of it by making it a watch, and then second off, you sounds like everyone kind of goes on the fear side of the spectrum when, sending it out to the market. And you guys are like, hey, we're a friend on your wrist. You can talk to us. We're here to help. We're not going to tell you you're going to fall every day and try to give you this. We're just going to say we're here to make your life better, kind of deal.
I'll give you an example. So we had a woman who called us up, again, one of these legendary stories, right, Kevin? So
Yeah.
she called us up and she wanted to thank us for the watch. This is going on about 8 months ago. Excuse me. And she hadn't fallen, but she was upstairs in her house and she was cold, and she wanted to get the blankets in the top of the closet, but she did not want to shimmy up a step stool to get it. So she used the watch to call the monitoring center and spoke to the agent through her watch and said, can you have my daughter come over and get the blankets in the top of the closet? I'm cold and I don't want to shimmy up the step stool. And 2 minutes later, her daughter is over there, because, the mom lives in a big house. And like a lot of other older adults, she had no idea where her cell phone was, and she no longer had a landline. So like the watch is basically her lifeline for both solutions for major and minor emergencies. And so she got the blankets she wanted. And so the next call we got was from the daughter, who said, thank you, I can sleep at night because knowing that my mom is using this for both major and minor emergencies, I know she's wearing it regularly. And that gives me the ability to sleep at night that I haven't been able to have, because I've been so nervous that she was going to have an issue. And now that she's kind of figured out that she can use this for a variety of purposes, again, behavior modification, building a habit, we're giving her benefits every day. So of course she's going to use this. And of course she's going to keep wearing it. And that's where it becomes really, really compelling and valuable for us, and rewarding for us, as well as, most importantly, for our wearers and those that love them.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. I think the only fear for me is mom would turn me into a butler at some point. So you get three
So
minor calls a week,
I
and
know
that's it.
that's true. And we talk to, sometimes we talk to the wearer, sometimes we talk to the loved one. And when we tell the loved one that story, we say, you decide if you want to share that little nugget of information with your mom or dad. We're not going to tell them that, but you can tell them that. And many of them are actually quite happy. But obviously every family's different.
No, it does seem like I could see a huge peace of mind coming from that, because even I think of my grandma, she has a cell phone. She had a flip phone up until about 6 months ago when it broke, and now you just can't buy one. They're impossible to even find. So she had to get an iPhone, and she don't care about it, never knows where it's at, and she also doesn't wear anything on her. So like if something happened, she's just kind of lost, probably in the yard somewhere or something.
Yep.
So yeah, you said that she used the watch to call the center, which called her daughter. Also has infinite battery. So I'm curious, kind of, some features, benefits. You said Apple Watch. One of my questions actually was going to be, how does it differ from an Apple Watch or something? Because I think Apple does have fall detection now as well.
It does.
Yeah, just kind of let's dive in there to the feature, benefit, tech side.
Got it. So probably the most important feature is that it does have, on both sides of the watch, it has custom-made lithium rechargeable batteries. And the watch comes with 4 batteries and a charger, but not for the watch, for the batteries. So you always have 2 batteries in reserve. And when the batteries on the watch start losing, all you do, literally they come out, that's how easy it comes out. You just snap out, snap in, right? Super simple. It takes literally 5 seconds. Now, yes, the band is thicker than the Apple Watch band, right? But the Apple Watch, you can only wear it for 18 hours, and you got to take it off to charge. And again, think about your grandma. You take it off. Again, don't think about it like you. Like I take it off for a couple of hours and then I put it back on because I want to make phone calls, I want to check my steps, I want to check my all those kind of features and services. Like that is not how an older adult, that's not how your grandma thinks. She takes it
Hmm.
off and then she forgets to put it back on. So one of the real benefits of this versus any other device out there is that we don't give people a reason ever to take it off. And that's, again, the habit forming benefit that exists. That's one of the main features. Now, in terms of the main distinguishing features between
Hmm.
us and other medical alert devices, as well as the Apple Watch, is the charging takes place off the watch, not off your wrist. Very big difference.
Yep.
And then the other thing about the Apple Watch is it only connects to 911. Now, again, if you talk to your grandma, that is not what she wants to be the first line
Yeah.
of defense for her. She wants to talk
Yeah.
to someone who definitely knows who she is, knows where she is, has all her emergency contacts, knows her medical history, knows if she has any medicine allergies, and can talk to her through the watch and help her, like we said, for any major or minor emergencies, as well as if she's not responsive, be able to go through the process of calling emergency contacts and or dispatching EMS directly to her GPS location. And that all works guaranteed. Now, the challenge with the Apple Watch is that only going to 911, 911 services are different all throughout the country. 911 is a great national service. People that do 911 and the EMTs that respond are wonderful. They're doing a great job for our society, and we owe them a debt of gratitude. But the technology isn't the same across all 911 services. And the challenge also is that the Apple Watch is sending a lot of false alerts, unverified false alerts to 911. And so if you're a
Hmm.
911 operator and you have to handle and dispatch four emergency situations in the same time frame, and three of them you're talking to and you have verification they actually need help, and one is just an unverified alert from the Apple Watch, you may have to decide where to send help. And there are plenty of articles now out there saying that the Apple Watch is sending alerts and ambulances are going to amusement parks and to ski resorts because they're
Oh
getting
wow.
false
Yeah.
alerts. So it's an abuse of our national trust and our national resources. And so that's not what
Hmm.
happens here. The monitoring center, the 24/7 monitoring center, is literally your representative, your agent, who acts even if you can't speak and verify you need help. They act as your representative and dispatch EMS to your GPS location. No matter whether you're home, you're out shopping, you're in Alaska, it all works the same way.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely some big distinctions. I actually remember now you brought up a story where once again my grandpa fell. Luckily my grandma was there, but if she wasn't there and he would have had like a life alert or something, they didn't want 911 to come out. They just needed someone to help him to get up off the floor. And she
Yep,
ended up calling the neighbors. She called me and the neighbors, and we came and got him up.
right.
But and that could have been done through the watch if he would have been alone and had it. But yeah, if it was Apple, there would have been potentially an ambulance out there that he didn't even need,
Yeah,
really.
yeah. And think about both that, the embarrassment and the waste of national resources. It's
Yeah.
awful, right?
And then when you're at scale with that, I mean, yeah.
I agree. I agree. Let me share one other key feature that I think is really important. It's not really, I mean, the other thing about the Apple Watch, just to compare and contrast quickly, and then I'll jump onto that other point I wanted to make. So the Apple
Hmm.
Watch is also quite difficult for the vast majority of older adults to set up and quite
Hmm.
difficult to use. It's got a lot of features. Now there are older adults that want all those features and want to use them, and God bless them. They're not the Kanega Watch wearers, right? But most people, they get an Apple Watch that's got 1,000 features, and within a week they're using two of them, right? Like anything
Yeah.
else, technology blows you away, and then you get back to the things you really use it for. And so the challenge is that as people get older, I'm going to get a little geeky here for a second, Kevin. They lose what's
Keep
called
away.
their galvanic response. The galvanic response is as you get older, you become increasingly inherently, naturally more dehydrated. And the dehydration happens from the outside in. So what gets dehydrated first? The tips of your fingers.
Mhm.
And what do you need to do to activate icons on a phone or on an Apple Watch? The tips of your fingers. If you have any older relatives who have let's say an Apple Watch, or they have a smartphone, And they keep saying, you know, I keep pushing on those icons and nothing's happening. It's because the galvanic response has gone or is waning, and the screen does not recognize their fingertips because they're too dehydrated. So
Wow.
you know, if you're just trying to get your steps, probably not a big deal. If you're trying to get emergency services,
Hmm.
BFD, right?
Yeah,
Big
for
freaking
sure.
deal, right? So that's where, so we don't have a touch screen. You don't have to, you can either push a button, you can use your voice to ask for help, or the fall detection automatically will connect to the monitoring center without you having to do anything. And that's what people are looking for. If they're looking for a medical alert device, we prioritize the medical alert device features. Apple
Hmm.
Watch sprinkles some fall detection pixie dust on their Apple Watch, but it's mainly designed for much younger people. And so that's
Yeah.
not bad, but it's not designed for your grandma, quite frankly.
Yeah. No, and yeah, like I said, even she got her iPhone, she gets on Facebook, and that's about it with
Yep,
it.
yep, exactly,
So
exactly. And God bless her,
Apple
right?
Watch, she'd probably do the same thing. Yeah.
Right. So the other thing I wanted to bring up just briefly is that again, we can geek out for a second. So all the other medical alert options in this market, like almost all of them, there may be one other one, but I don't, you know, I'm not quite sure, but the vast majority of options that people use, they only connect through a cellular connection, right? That doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's a huge deal because 70% of the time that somebody needs help, like your grandma or grandpa, they're probably going to be at home by themselves. Where is the worst place to get a cellular connection? In
Oh
your home,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When you go home, the first thing you do with your phone is you switch to Wi-Fi, right? Because cellular can be, you can drop, the calls get dropped, they get staticky, they may not go through at all. That's annoying if you
Hmm.
have a cell phone and you're trying to talk to a friend. But if you tie that back to a medical alert device, it is, I'm not trying to sell in fear, but like it's stupid, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. So we're the only ones in the industry that I know of that collect the wearer's Wi-Fi information before the watch ships out. So when it gets to their home, it automatically boots up to their home Wi-Fi. And then when they leave their house, where cellular service is readily available outside, it automatically switches over to Verizon Cellular. The data plan is on the watch. They don't have to have Verizon. They don't have to have their phone with them. It works no matter whether they have a phone or not, whether they have anything. It's completely independent, standalone medical device. But the overlay protection of being on Wi-Fi in your home. I mean,
Hmm.
we tell people that if you get an alternative device, you have to do test calls in every room of your house at every time at different times of the day and night because it's not going to likely work in your shower at 9 p.m. It just won't, right? Or it won't
Yeah.
work in your basement. And like, what's the use of having a device that can't work everywhere at all times, where you're most likely going to have a problem? So it is a mind-blowing change for this industry. It's not revolutionary for Apple, but Apple's not in the medical space. But the industry is very much kind of an old boy network, and
Hmm.
they don't think about the real needs of their customers. They think about how to make money, which is fine, but sometimes those two can conflict. And if every time those conflict, you choose making money, you're not really representing your wearers as best as you can.
Beautifully said. And yeah, once again, thinking of my grandma, she's at home 95% of the time, lives on a farm. There's like one bar of 4G in her house, so you can't do anything with that. My mom has to go walk into the yard if she has to call me usually. So yeah, that would be, I guess every other device is pretty much useless in that situation.
Even more so, Kevin, because these devices, I mean, look at the size of this, right? It's like a fifth the size of a cell phone. So the cellular antenna is also smaller. And we're a relatively large
Hmm.
device on the
Yeah.
on the wrist. So imagine, imagine a cell phone a fifth the size with a cellular antenna the fifth the size. If you can't get a connection, you only get one bar with your current phone, a fifth the size, you'll get negative 2 bars, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of being funny, but like,
No,
it's
yeah.
crazy,
She's
right?
on
It's
dial-up
crazy.
basically.
Right. Exactly. Right. So that's why we require our wearers to provide us with their Wi-Fi, their home Wi-Fi. If they don't have home Wi-Fi, people have gotten Wi-Fi just to get the Kinega watch because once
Hmm.
they really understand the concern. I mean, you'd never get into your car if your insurance said, we're only going to randomly protect you, we're not going to tell you when you're protected or not. Would you actually choose that insurance? That is what other medical device companies are
Yeah.
offering. We think I mean, look, it's a business. I'm sure they're good people doing good work, but we think that that decision is disgusting.
Yeah, I agree with you there on that. No, man, every podcast, there's just a whole world of stuff I never knew about that's so interesting. I really like the idea. I want to circle back to something else you said we haven't hit on yet of having like a personal. I think I know a lot of companies do this because I remember Life Alert commercials when I was little, and it's like, hey, your own personal assistant or like home health nurse on your necklace kind of thing. Um, but yeah, you mentioned that they have like your medical records, they know all your emergency contacts. So I kind of like that there's that almost personable, you don't see their face, but you know who you're talking to knows who you are
Yep.
versus some random operator somewhere.
Yeah, and think about it, right? In the worst case scenario, you're not responsive and they're dispatching and they're calling EMS. And they don't call 911 generally. It depends on the different rules applying in different parts of the country. But generally, they don't have to call 911. It's not an extra step. They're dispatching the nearest available EMS to your location. And of course, they can share if you have like a lockbox and a lockbox combination or a spare key location, or you have certain comorbidities. You have like diabetes, or you can't take certain medicine, or your iron deficiency, like all the things you want EMS to know when you get there. The
Hmm.
Apple Watch isn't going to do that for you. And again, no disrespect to Apple, but 911 isn't going to know who you are unless you tell them all this. And who's going to tell them all this in an emergency? You want someone who knows
Yep.
all this beforehand.
Yep, for sure. Wow. So you said so it came from the founder, her mom. So she was a dive expert. So she sounds like she basically created this for her mom essentially, and now turned it into a product.
Yeah, I mean, the mom was the impetus, but like everything else in this world, it's the confluence of factors that come together perfectly that create an opportunity. And if one
Hmm.
piece wasn't the same, so like, you know, Jean Ann had just sold her last two companies. She has incredible engineering expertise. She has tons of developers she can connect with, international sourcing experience, investors. Like she had all the things she needed, and she looked at this industry and said, "This industry hasn't evolved for 20 years. Like we can do better here." And it doesn't seem that hard. Now it actually was hard, 4.5 years of hard. But I also wanted to point out that it's hard to break into this industry because unless you're a more established brand, it's hard to build trust with wearers. Now we partner. Our partner is we partner with one of the largest monitoring centers in the country. So we built the best front end product, and then when you get help, it's with one of the largest back end medical response, emergency response providers in the country. So that's where you get the best of both worlds. But you know, uh, the fact is that you want that combination. You want to be able to know that like the product that you're wearing has really been intelligently thought through and it's designed for you and your needs. And then if you need help, you can get it from a company that's basically protecting hundreds of thousands of people, all across the country.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and 4.5 years of development. Man, that's a
Several
lot.
versions, several versions. And by the way, the
Yeah.
thing I was going to bring up was that after all of this, in August of this year, we just got rated by the New York Times and Wirecutter as the best medical alert device in the country.
Wow, congrats. That's
They
awesome.
didn't they didn't have a list. They had one for if you only are at home and you're only going to use it at home. They had a recommendation for one company. And if you wanted it for at home and on the go, the only one they recommended was us. And they tested, they tested lots of products, talked to lots of, and of course, the big people in this industry are all pissed off, right? Because they wanted that
I'm sure.
designation. But you know what? I'll tell you, interesting. So there's a picture with that article, Kevin, and so the picture is supposed to show here's the at-home option, and here's the at-home on-the-go option, right? So they only made 2 recommendations. The picture shows 5 items. This is how crazy this industry is, right? So why are there 5 items if they only recommended 2 products? Well, one of those 5 items is sorry about that. One of those 5 items is the Kinega watch. And you can wear it at home, wear it on the go. All you need is the watch. You don't need anything else. Or you can choose the at-home product they recommend. That includes a pendant you wear around your neck during the day that has fall detection. But then you can't wear it at night because when you go to sleep, you'll flip over in bed, it might choke you, you might press against it, it's very uncomfortable. So you take the pendant off, then you put on a wristband, right, with a help button. Oh, but wait a second, that help button, you can't communicate through that help button, so there has to be a separate base station that you communicate through. The alert goes from the help button to the base station. But wait a second, you don't have fall detection anymore. You used to have on your pendant because they don't offer fall detection on a wristband. Oh, so you need a help button in the bathroom as well to press if you need help. So you can either choose one thing for everywhere or 4 things for at home. Now, can you imagine a company being successful with the 4 things? And they are a successful company because not enough people know about the Kinega watch, but they're just trying to basically fit a square peg in a round hole every day. And we just have a better mousetrap.
Yeah, that's crazy. Once again, I think of grandma, and there's no way she's gonna swap a necklace and a wristband every single day.
And the person who's getting an at-home product only, so they're homebound, they're the least able to juggle different devices. And yet, so they're putting the most complicated solution on the back of the person least capable to handle the complication of that solution. It's really embarrassing.
Wow. So we've heard a lot about product itself, company background. How did you actually get here? You said you've been here. You're an investor, actually, I think.
I'm an investor, but I have an interesting background. I've been in the health, wellness, and healthcare space for, I think it's now 1 billion years. Maybe only 3/4 billion, but it's a long time.
You don't look like a dinosaur. Not quite.
Thank you. Well, you'd be amazing. Be amazed to know. So anyway, but I have an interesting background. I was one of the founding executives of Atkins Nutritionals, the Atkins diet. So we launched that product. Yeah, and I've been involved with 3 separate companies. We've taken from small companies to building them up to the point that we sold them to either private equity firms or to strategics. And so I'm hoping that UnaliWear is the 4th, and it feels very likely given the endorsement, the best way I can describe it, endorsement from New York Times Wirecutter. I mean, you can't, unlike pretty much every other recommendation, source out there on the internet, this is one that you don't pay for. You actually just, they test it. It's like Consumer Reports. They test it and they tell you what their testing came back. And so just as a sidebar, they rated us best for fall detection, best for emergency response, best for GPS, and best for customer service. Like, what else would you want this product for?
Yeah, what other category would there even be?
Right. Can I geek out on one more thing?
Yeah, man, I love it.
All right.
Geek away.
So the bread and butter of this product, I mean, you can get help through pushing a button. You can get help through your voice just by asking for help. But the bread and butter is fall detection. If your grandmother got a device like this, she would be convinced to get it because she wants to be protected from a fall. That's the main thing people visualize. That's why Lvl did such a good job with "I fall and can't get up." It's a brilliant tagline because it really resonates with the audience. There's a lot of respect for them in doing that. But fall detection is only as good as the algorithm you have that you built your fall detection around. So here's the secret. The industry has based the rest of the medical industry has based its fall detection algorithms, the predictive model, around fake falls, because their product really isn't generally connected to the cloud. So they don't collect any data. So how would you figure out what a fall looks like? Well, you would drop it from above your head onto the ground and make sure that it went off then, although your grandma is never going to fall that way, right? You'd have some actors fake fall, some actors in the 20s fake fall, and see what that looks like. and then you would build, and maybe you might do some simulations in the lab. None
Hmm.
of that at all replicates in a really consistent way how your grandmother and thousands, tens of thousands of other grandmothers, grandfathers, and parents, how they actually fall every day. And even the Apple Watch says that their fall detection only catches hard falls. That's their public information. So there's no disgrace, nothing bad about Apple. Well, there's a better way, right? If our watches, which they are all connected to the cloud, we collect real fall data all day long. Our wearers fall. We know what that looks like on the watch. We know what the movement looks like. And we continue to inform and build our algorithm and improve it with greater and greater amounts of data about what a fall actually looks like by real wearers on their wrists. And so we've patented this product. It's called Real Fall. We've trademarked it because it is so inherently different. When we actually, internally, we say, we have fall detection and everyone else out there has motion detection, right? And we had someone test the product, and all the various other products that are out there. And when they just dropped it from above their head onto the ground, our watch didn't go off. And they said, well, your fall detection doesn't work. And we said, well, it's not our fall detection doesn't work. You didn't fall. So then they changed their strategy, and they looked on YouTube about how older adults actually fall, and they fell that way. And our watch caught every fall. That's what happened with the New York Times Wirecutter. Our watch, but it's equally important to not catch things that aren't falls as it is to catch falls. I know that sounds crazy, but like if your grandma gets a lot of false alerts a day, she's not wearing this device. She's not wearing any device. She's going to get too frustrated, right? So if it keeps telling her she fell because she sat down fast in a chair, how many days do you think, if every time she sat down fast and the chair went off, how many days do you think she wears it before she doesn't wear it anymore? 2?
Yeah.
6?
I mean, she gets up and down 20 times a day already.
That's right. So imagine all of that.
2 days.
Right. Exactly. So we have real fall. Everyone else out there has fake fall. And fake fall doesn't work. It works if you're trying to test it. If you want to drop it from above your head onto the ground and you want to make yourself feel better that it actually goes off, God bless you. But the more it goes off when you don't fall, the worse it is, not the better it is. That's motion detection. And we have fall detection.
Got it. Yeah. Man, it seems, I don't want to sound biased because you're on my podcast, but it seems like there's one option in the market if you're in the market right now. And I'm glad that story went to real-time data, because for a second I thought you were going to say you spent 4 years pushing over grandmas and tripping them and stuff to get
No. That'd be awful.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Richard, I know we're a little past 30 minutes, and we're booked time here. So any last words, final thoughts, let people know where they can find you? I think this is an amazing product for anyone, grandparents, older parents, anything like that. My grandma's getting up there, so or actually my dad too has some leg problems, so I'm gonna be checking you guys out. This is a whole world I've not been exposed to yet.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone on this call, listening to this podcast, I mean, if they're part of the sandwich generation and they're taking care of their kids and taking care of their parents at the same time, and they're trying to figure out how to handle, maybe one of their parents has passed away and the other one is living by themselves for the first time in 45 years. Maybe the grandchild has been tasked with doing the research because the grandparent doesn't want to do the work, understandably.
Yeah.
The other thing about our company is we're incredibly transparent. We have transparent pricing. We also provide a lot of information. So I'd encourage people to go either to our website, which is UnaliWear.com, UnaliWear.com, and you can download a brochure. You can fill out a lead form to get an email from us. You don't have to provide your phone number. We don't call and harass you when you provide us your phone number. We call you once if you ask us to. We don't call you again. And then also, I would encourage them to go to our YouTube channel, UnaliWear YouTube. We've just published a really great truth series, and basically four-minute episodes. The truth about medical alert devices, things companies don't tell you before you get a device, just to help you be educated about the options that are out there and what you want, the questions you want to ask to make an informed decision. Whether that's our offering or somebody else's, the information is there for you to have at no cost, just to get the best, information possible to make the best informed decision you can.
Got it. Well, thank you for the info. I'll definitely check out the YouTube. I'm all about conspiracies and stuff. So sounds like you cracked the code and some stuff in the market. So, well, thank you, Richard. Thank you for hopping on. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by, listening to us over at Level Up, and we will see you guys next time.
Thank you again, Kevin. You take care.
Of course, you too.